I really hope you enjoy it. Thanks also to all the Irish farmers, growers and fishermen who are producing foods of the highest possible standards. Foods and ingredients that we're using in these recipes. Here we go with our Thai beef and oyster sauce. Now the really important thing to get going here is to have all your ingredients weighed out and portioned in advance. We've got some lovely Irish rapeseed oil, and the great thing about rapeseed oil is that you can achieve really high temperatures when you're cooking. We've got some soy sauce, we've got some maple syrup, we've got some oyster sauce, I've got some mushrooms, I've got my peppers, I've got my chili peppers. Now what I've done here, we've got some lovely ginger. Now the trick with ginger is to get a little spoon and you can actually grate the side of the ginger here, and then you've got that lovely beautiful flavour underneath the skin. I've diced it, or you could use a microplane as well. Microplane is lovely because you don't get that stringy pieces when you're cooking, when you're eating. I've got some lovely chili peppers, and I've got some lovely beef. Now the beef, what I've done with the beef, you can either use ribeye or you can use fillet. I've diced it really thinly, sliced it really thinly, and I've got it in corn flour and soy sauce. And what that's going to do is going to give it a lovely crispy texture when you're frying it up. So to begin with, I've got a lovely pan here. Again, really high temperatures. We've got our rapeseed oil. I'm going to turn the temperature up. So that is going to start sizzling in a second. So I'm going to get rid of these little ingredients here. And what we have first, we've got our garlic. Now what we don't want to do is we don't want it to brown. We want it to be translucent. We just want to soften it a little bit here. So again, here we go. I'm going to add in a little bit more of my rapeseed oil. Here we go. And I can get those beautiful flavors and senses and smells. It's really absolutely delicious. So next thing to add in here, I've got my green peppers, my red peppers, my yellow peppers, and my mushrooms. So again, this comes back to having everything kind of prepped in advance, because it just makes the whole process much more straightforward. Now this again is a lovely one-pot wonder. If you're cooking for the family at home, it will literally take you about 5 to 7 minutes, and this will feed a family of about 4 to 6. I don't want these to be overcooked. I want them to be nice and al dente. Now, the one thing with seasoning, as we come back to Thai cuisine, is to get that flavor balance right. In here, I'm going to put a little bit of water just to loosen it a little bit. I've got my little bit of maple syrup. It's easy just to take the top off. I should have done that beforehand. Here we go. And again, just get those flavors going. Turn those vegetables. Get those flavors infusing. We've got plenty of heat, and that's great. It's all about the sizzling. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put these into a little pan here, because they're lovely and al dente. And then I'm going to fry the beef off now in a second. So in we go there. So back on our hob. A little bit more of our rapeseed oil. Important to buy Irish, support Irish industry, Irish farmers, Irish producers. And in we go with our beef. Now the beef is going to cook off really quickly, and once that's cooked off, I'm then going to add in my vegetables that we fried off a little bit earlier. Now the beef is beautifully coated, and that's the great thing about using the corn flour and the soy sauce. It coats it really nicely. Now the next thing to add in here, because that's actually been cooked through, I've got my oyster sauce. So in we go with the oyster sauce. And I'm going to loosen that a little bit more with some more water. Here we go. Now again, to get the flavor balance right, I'm going to add in a little bit of fish sauce. If you don't like using fish sauce, you can use a little bit of salt. And then what we're going to use here is our lime. Now the important thing with lime is to juice it, right? So what you want to do is use the back of your palm of your hand, get a knife, cut it in half, squeeze it in there, okay? Now, tasting spoons. Always have some tasting spoons to hand. Give that a little, oh, wow, that's delicious. So, the beef actually is cooked off. Delicious, absolutely delicious. In go the veg. And give that a good old stir. Now, I'm going to taste that again. Don't double dip, second spoon. Oh. Going to need a little bit more maple syrup or sugar. Again, to get the flavor balance right. Loosen it with a little bit more water. Give it a stir. And I'm going to add in a little bit more lime juice. And we're going to leave it probably for about 2 minutes until it bubbles away. And then we'll come back and we'll serve. Okay, so we're ready here now. We've got some amazing flavors. I'm going to give it one last taste before we sign off on this. Oh, that is divine, absolutely divine. So I'm going to serve this up. There we go. And I'm going to finish that off just with a little bit of fresh basil, and I'm going to chop up a chili pepper just for a little bit of garnish. So there we go. Again, a few little basil leaves there, just on the top. And then finally, and this is really just for a little bit of presentation. Here we go. We have our lovely Thai beef, oyster sauce, mushrooms and chili pepper. Right, we're ready to serve. I think it's amazing. I'm going to ask Richard to come over. I hadn't asked him before now. I know that he likes his beef. He likes his food. Don't dribble over your beard. Here we go. I am a wise guy. How's that? Good? Excellent.
A special thanks to the amazing Irish farmers, fishermen and suppliers who are working around the clock to keep the warehouses full and the shelves stocked.
I really do hope you enjoyed this dish, and I'm looking forward to being back again with our next mouth-watering recipe.